2015's Bone Tomahawk, starring Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, Lily Simmons, Richard Jenkins, and Matthew Fox. Written and directed by Craig Zoller, set in Western times. So what happens is that Patrick Wilson's wife's character gets kidnapped by Native Americans of sorts, and they have to go and search out for her and rescue her. So it kind of sounds like a cookie cutout kind of film, of like a rescue film where, you know, somebody's wife gets kidnapped and then they gotta go and save the woman, and they get together and band a team of people to go and save her. But when it comes to Bone Tomahawk, it's a slightly different film in the sense that it's actually a Western horror film. And the reason why it becomes a Western horror film is because what happens in the very beginning is that there are two bandits that are basically stealing from people. In the very beginning scene, somebody's getting their throat slit and the violence is already there. But they stumble upon an Indian burial ground, and when they stumble upon this Indian burial ground, they kind of unleash, they get noticed basically by some Indian native tribe that is living within the mountains nearby, in the hills and stuff like that. So what happens is that one of the guys escapes and he enters to the town of Bright Hope. And when he gets to the town of Bright Hope, that is where all the characters that we get to know, like the Kurt Russell character who plays the sheriff, and Patrick Wilson and Lily Simmons characters are the Dwyers, and they're a married couple. And then you also have Matthew Fox's character, who is like kind of like the I love his character in this film actually a lot. He's kind of like the cynical asshole, very cocky and arrogant guy that's in town. And then you also have Richard Jenkins, who plays kind of like the assistant, the deputy to the sheriff, and he's kind of like the bumbling fool, but he's old and he means well, and it just puts together a great cast of characters. And for Craig Zoller, this was actually his very first film, and he written and directed it. And for to say about Craig Zoller, I became a huge fan of this dude so far, because this being his first film and I didn't know anything about him, and watching this movie I was like blown away. I couldn't believe that this was his film debut. And what makes this movie so great is that, like, of course, like I said, it's a rescue film, but what happens is that the dude that was stealing comes to town and he gets noticed by everybody, and of course the Native Americans start to trail him, and they get into the town of Bright Hope, and what happens is Patrick Wilson's wife gets kidnapped, basically by them. So in a sense, you kind of felt like, oh, okay, I've seen this kind of story before. You know, it's just going to be, you know, them going to save them. But they put together such a great team. What you find out is basically these Native Americans are cave dwellers, kind of like cave dwelling cannibals is what they call them. And so it makes for an even crazier story. You get more intrigued, like, what the fuck. So you kind of go along in this journey of a rescue mission, but everything about it is very cool, because like all the characters are really good. Like I said, Matthew Fox, being my favorite character, gets into some good arguments with Richard Jenkins, whose name is Chicory in the film, and they kind of have like a lot of disputes with each other, which make for great character development. Kurt Russell just being the badass he is in any kind of western, of course, you know, Tombstone being the most iconic role that he has. I think he does really well in this role as the sheriff. And also Patrick Wilson in this film has like a broken leg, so he's trying to battle the elements. So they have to set off for a journey to go and save his wife, who has been kidnapped by these Indians. And what happens is that the journey is actually like a 5-day journey, so they have to gather all these supplies, and they're battling the elements of the frontier life. And that's another cool thing that Craig Zoller captures, is like the whole cinematic view of it, and like how the beautiful shots of like the frontier, and making it look like, you know, I guess the best way I can say it is like kind of like Red Dead Redemption looking, and you just get like all the world, like the whole like plains of everything. And they also have to battle the elements of people being out there, you know, trying to steal their horses and different things while they're on this rescue mission. And like I said, Patrick Wilson having this broken leg, it sucks throughout the film, because it's like he's trying his hardest to get to his wife, and you can tell by the frustration he really wants to, but he keeps encountering a lot of fucking situations that get like really fucked up. And like I said, also too, you start to learn the background with these characters as well when you get on this journey with them. Richard Jenkins provides the comedy relief, but this being like a western film, and like I said, I consider it a western horror film, which is pretty fucking cool, because I don't think there's ever been that many Western films that matched up genres really well, like the stupid ass movie, what is it, Cowboys versus Aliens? Yeah, fuck that movie. But like with this one, you get so much good character development. You get these good moments of like interaction, and you actually get drawn into the film, which is really fucking cool. And like I said, the cinematic beauty is pretty damn cool too. The one crazy thing too is that this film doesn't really have any music like at all throughout the whole film. Basically, it's basically just them talking, and you're listening to the elements of like the wilderness and stuff like that, which is pretty fucking cool too, because it kind of draws you more into the characters, kind of like how what No Country for Old Men did. And I fucking love that film because of that too. It makes it more dramatic in a sense. And so things start to go, you know, it seems like we're on this mission and everything is okay, we know what's going on and stuff like that, but it's in the third act of the film, like kind of like half to the third act of the film is when shit hits the fan. And when I say shit hits the fan, shit hits the fan. It catches you off guard once they get to the location of when they find where these natives are. And once you see what happens, there's been like a way of communicating with these Indians that you would say, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. I call them like cave dwelling fucking creatures is what I would call them. But throughout the film you kind of get these subtle like whistling sounds and like calling, like weird noises that you hear in the background, and you don't know what it is. But then when it turns out, when they actually get to the location where these cave dwellers are, shit hits the fan, and you know, it's fucking rocks and spears and all kinds of shit flying at you, and you're just as caught off guard as they are, because they didn't know what they were in for. They thought this was just going to be a rescue mission, we brought guns and everything, but fuck no, these guys, when they come out, they look like total creatures. I mean, they're covered in like dry mud. Some of them have like tusks coming out their face, and like wearing like bone, like a skull mask and shit like that. And it gets pretty damn cool from that point, because then you start to realize that these guys are basically freaks of nature, and they're basically like monsters, and they're a force to be reckoned with. And they didn't know that was going to happen, so they get into such a situation of finally realizing, like, holy fuck, these things are more intense than we thought, and I think we bit off more than we could chew. And so what happens is that they are taken into the cave, and the battle scenes are pretty fucking cool. There's some stuff that I've never seen in a film that is very grotesque that happens in this movie, and the brutality of these like Native Americans and what they do, and how they go about like killing some people. It is pretty fucking sick. Like, it is some of the most intense, like gut wrenching, like you don't want to look at it but you do want to look at it kind of moments. But yeah, like I said, it turns into a total horror film at that, like the third act of the film, because you just don't know what's going on, and then you do see the cannibalistic elements of these guys. And like I said, when you see them, they're fucking brutal. And not to mention, one big crazy thing about these guys, like I was saying about the way of communicating, they actually stick like a piece of like I don't know if it's a bone or jewelry or something inside their neck, and it causes them to whistle like this loud whistling sound that sounds very just eerie, like a loud wind of some sorts with like a low tone to it as well. And it's fucking creepy, and when you see that happen and they communicate that way, it makes you think that they're not fucking like some sort of humans, which, you know, they seem like fucking just basically monsters. But like I said, going back to Craig Zahler too, Craig Zahler, this being his film debut and having such a powerhouse of a cast, to be honest, he fucking owned it. And after I watched this film, I started like looking up like if he has any other films, and you know, he's done 2 more films after that. He's fairly new. Like, this movie, like I said, came out in 2015, but Craig Zahler has that thing. Like, you can always tell when a director, and if you get such a good cast together and make something very, very unique with these set of people and with his story that he wrote, I was like looking forward to seeing more of his films, and I have. He did Brawl in Cell Block 99, and he also did Dragged Across Concrete, which I will eventually do reviews on as well. But he's just such a badass, and I look forward to seeing more of his films, and I want to get more of his films, because I've been yet to be let down by anything that he's done so far. But yeah, so if you're into like Western films, you know, a good rescuing film, but you also want that element of horror and like kind of violence as well, and just weird shit just happening overall, I do highly recommend watching Bone Tomahawk. Like I said, some of the kill scenes are fucking gnarly. You get a lot of gore, and then you get a very cool, just a very cool film overall. Like, and for Craig Zoller just to bring us a film like this, I mean, to change the game of a Western film, it makes it so fucking cool, makes it so awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to more of his work, like I said, but go watch Bone Tomahawk. I do recommend it very much so. I love it. I hope you guys enjoy it too. It's I believe it's on Amazon Prime right now still. So if you have Amazon Prime, you know, why not, you know, take the chance and just give it a watch. I mean, you might like it, you might not. And I'm very happy that you guys joined me today. So I will see you guys very soon again, and we'll be having some more discussions. Leave some comments on below. Let me know what you thought about the film if you saw it, if you intend on watching it, and let me know what you want to see next. Give me a like, subscribe, and I look forward to talking to you guys very soon. Okay, have a great day. Peace out.